you know what this is? It's my green thumb. We say somebody has a green thumb when they're really good at growing plants like these kale and chard plants in our beautiful new vegetable gardens at Lincoln Elementary School. In this video, I'm going to tell you how keeping a journal of what happens in your vegetable garden bed can help you to develop a green thumb too. Green thumbs don't just happen by chance. Just like playing basketball or doing any other fun activity that we enjoy, you have to work at it to get good at it. And keeping records of what you do in your vegetable garden bed is a fun and really important part of learning how to grow vegetables and how to make your thumb green. I suggest that you use a notebook for your garden journal. This notebook will be a long-term record of what happened in your vegetable bed. That way you or somebody in the future will be able to look back at your garden journal and know exactly what you did there. This will help us remember how we grew beautiful vegetables in the past so that we can do it again. And it will also help us figure out what went wrong when the vegetables don't grow well. Now, to help us remember what to put into our garden journal, I'm going to use the other 4 fingers right next to my green thumb. It's a simple and handy way that I just figured out the other day, and you've always got it right with you. I wish I'd known about this many years ago, because it would have helped me to develop my green thumb a lot faster. Okay, so for the first finger, this is going to remind us that we always want to record the date that we do something in our vegetable garden. Like today. Today's Monday, March 2nd, 2015. This is an easy one to remember because a journal without a date doesn't mean much. Now for the second finger. This is the longest one, and it stands for a whole bunch of questions that start with WH. I call them the WH questions. What did you plant? Why did you do it? Where did you do it? And who helped you? Let me give you an example of that. Today I planted lacinato kale from transplants. By the way, this type of kale, or this variety of kale, is also called dinosaur kale. I think they call it dinosaur kale because the leaves kind of look like dinosaur skin. I wonder if kale was around when the dinosaurs were around. That's a good question, but let's get back to the other WH questions, or WH questions, for the second finger. So who planted the kale? Did you do it all by yourself, or did you have a few friends or your teacher help you? Now another important WH question is, when did you plant the kale? Was it in the morning or in the afternoon? Sometimes this can affect how things grow. Another one would be, where did you get the plants from? Why did you plant the kale? Well, that's pretty obvious because we want to eat kale. We like kale. All right, so that's the second finger. Let's move on to the third one now. So the third finger is what I call the how much or the how many finger. And that's going to remind us to write down how much of different things that we did in our garden. For example, how many kale plants did you plant? I planted 30 plants in this box, and they were arranged in 6 lines with about 5 plants in each line. A great way to show this would be with a simple little drawing. Here's another example of how much. When you harvest your kale, you want to weigh it. That will give you a record of how much kale you harvested. You might even want to count the number of leaves. Now, a real easy way to remember this how much or how many finger is that that's the finger where you usually will see people wearing a ring. And when you see them wearing a fancy ring of some type, you might wonder how much that ring cost, or I wonder how long it took them to make it if they made it themselves. Okay, so we got one more finger, the little one. This is a really important one because it's going to help us remember to write down any leftover ideas, observations, or comments that we might have about our garden. For example, today I saw a really interesting insect in the garden. I wonder what it was doing there. By the way, I'm going to tell you about this insect in a future video. Okay, so that covers it. It's pretty simple, right? So remember that green thumbs don't just happen. We develop them by paying attention to our garden. And a great way to do this is with our handy reminder that's right next to our green thumb. So have fun keeping your garden journal and have fun growing and eating your vegetables.